If you could change any choices you have ever made, would you? You can always make another choice and change the course of your success. Everyone has the potency to make inspired choices. Get ready to listen, share, and experience the creativity that is you. Now, here is the host of Inspired Choices radio show, holographist coach, Christine McIver.
Welcome, 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 everyone. I am so thrilled that tonight has arrived. And wherever you are, whenever you are listening, thank you so much for tuning in to tonight's show. I'm excited about the guest that we have today. This is a guest that I've been excited to have with me for some time now, and the timing just clicked. So we are going to be speaking with Lorrie Febus, and we're going to be talking about courageous choices to awaken your destiny. Welcome to the show, Lorrie.
Hi, Christine. Hi, everyone. It's a pleasure and honor to be here.
Awesome. So tonight we're gonna be diving into really about choices, because you're listening to Inspired Choices radio show, and we're going to be talking about awakening your destiny. And sometimes both of those things take a good amount of courage. And Lorrie is a fabulous person to be sharing with us exactly how we can be doing that. So I want to tell you a little bit about Lorrie. She has a unique ability to blend her intuitive and spiritual light work with her practical financial knowledge and experience. She's able to bridge material financial abundance with spiritual connection and intuitive consciousness. She used faith, intuition, and the principles of manifesting to attract her husband, design her career position on her terms, and create an abundant net worth and discover her lineage and the life of her dreams. Lorrie knows firsthand that we all possess the power to change our lives and attract everything we desire. Lorrie is an author, a business and money coach. She has published many articles. She's a life and business and success coach, a multi-million-dollar protege in Robert Allen's EWI Institute, a former VP leading of Cascade Federal and financial executive and consultant, a real estate agent and investor. The list goes on and on, Lorrie. It's amazing. And you are also, and let me see if I can pronounce this correctly, an Okinawan high priestess by lineage. Is that correct?
That is, yeah. And that's something I just discovered in 2009 when I traveled to Okinawa with my mother and my niece, and the whole event unfolded so amazingly. It forever changed my perspective on the energy of the unknown, the energy of the universe. God moves in mysterious ways, and it was a whole lineage that I was totally unaware of. Totally unaware of.
How cool is that? That is so amazing.
Cool. Yeah.
So you're a certified herbalist and aromatherapist, reconnection healing practitioner, and your intuitive abilities to connect to higher power, channeling, and energy work. Amazing list of accomplishments, Lorrie. And where I would love to start tonight is, can you start us at the beginning of your life? Like, was it always this easeful for you to create and to actually have the life that you desire in your life?
Well, I wouldn't call it easy or unordinary, right? So I grew up in Hawaii, and luckily, my grandmother lived with us. So I loved being with her. I loved the energy of her, and unknown to me that that the whole lineage series would unfold later in my life. I was unaware of that, but so growing up with her was I feel very magical. And but then you start going to school, and school becomes your friends become a forefront. So in that sense, it was very ordinary, and I went through the normal, quote unquote, go to college, get married, get a job. So I worked in corporate finance for decades. So my last corporate job was as the vice president of a credit union. that was sort of culminating all the finance work that I've done prior to that, and being a real estate agent, real estate investor with my husband. That whole linear side of our life is not, I wouldn't call it not ordinary, in the sense that we were able to build this real estate, our real estate holdings, with the use of our intuition and using all of that. But I really, truly feel anybody can do it. And you just need to have the courage to do it, and the willingness to change some of the thoughts that aren't working for you. So I'm thrilled to be on your call, because I think there's no time better than now, with the coronavirus, where everyone's being called to really look inside of themselves and like what's important to them. It sort of has stripped away all of the, material, maybe the noise, the material noise around us. And it's just a perfect time. Christine, thank you so much for having me at this time.
Oh, you're so welcome. It's interesting. As I said, it's been months that I've wanted to have you on, and it just, I follow the energy on these things like many people do, and you popped right now. And one of the things, now, Lorrie, for all of you that are maybe not aware, she's the author of the book, Awakening Your Destiny, and she was introduced to me by a mutual friend, Megan Silito, and during Megan's, one of her events, she had Lorrie on, and it really, you just drew me in so strongly, and I immediately got the book. And one of the things that you say in your book, which I love, is everything comes with change. Anything new that we want in our lives, anything at all, comes with change. And I just was like, wow, like how many of us, and we hear it all the time, I don't like change, I don't like change. And yet that's what's required in order for us to create something different in our lives. And what a time of change we are in right now. So, Lorrie, yeah. Go ahead.
No, you go ahead.
Yeah, it's fascinating. And the change that is happening in the world, the change that's happening for so many of us is one of, that's really kind of throwing us back and having us regroup and then actually make a courageous choice. What are you seeing and what are you aware of that's occurring with people, and what's necessary at this time?
Yeah, I think that at the onset of what's going on, there was a lot of fear, so a lot of fear with what was going to happen, and like you said, the change. And I think that that sort of has calmed down, where now everyone's like, okay, I'm ready to take action, right? I'm ready to go out again. I'm ready to be with people. And I believe that with that energy shift that's happened, I think that is part of the energy that is culminating with this shutdown. So part of the change is us deciding, what's important to us. And I guess I want to caveat that with a reminder that, living an inspired, purpose-driven life does not mean living a life without hardship. So I don't want to make it sound like I know people are going through real hardship now. And I don't want to make light of that in any way. I absolutely feel that. In my life, I mean, we've had hardship, right? So, I'm a cancer survivor. We've had a lot of different things going on in our life. But the thing with that is courageously carrying on in spite of the hardship. so that's the message that I want to send, whether you're going through tremendous hardship or just, sort of a timeout, just to know that living courageously is carrying on in spite of the hardship and keeping your vibration high and focusing on what you want to create in your life. And that is really the message that I want to convey, because it's the perfect time to do it right now, because the world is forcing us to change. The world is forcing us to look internally at what's important to us and how we want our life to be.
It really does feel like that we're being given an opportunity, to me, and we're being given an opportunity to hit the reset button and start again. And yes, like you said, there's a lot of hardship out there, and there's still a lot of opportunity to look at what it is that's working and what's not working genuinely.
Yes, absolutely.
Lorrie, in your book, you talk about, and I just love this book. It's like it's got all the dog ears. Like it looks like I don't love it, but I love it a lot. In your book, you talk about beliefs, a great deal about beliefs, and you talk about how the beliefs that we have are actually the soil for the seeds that we plant, and the seeds that we plant are our words and our thoughts. Now, that was something, you know how you need to hear something, Lorrie, like 16,000 times before you hear it?
Yeah.
And I'm well aware and have been well aware and teach about our thoughts and our words for sure. But what was really speaking to me was the beliefs, the piece about beliefs and how these beliefs become, they're really, to me, it felt like they're more impactful. They have a longer lasting impact, and they drive our lives more than even our thoughts and our words. Because without a strong, solid, nurturing belief system, we can go in any direction, right?
Right, yeah. So I look at that as a whole package, right? Your thoughts, your words, and your beliefs. So, we all, a lot of us have watched The Secret. So we know, what our words and our thoughts are, and we want them to manifest into the physical. And the challenge with that is the belief part, right? So I am a total advocate of watching your words, and I also do private coaching, and I want to give a shout out to my private coaching clients, but they know that if we're in a conversation and I hear a negative, something negative, or them referring to themselves in a negative way, we stop right there, and I'm like, let's reframe that, right? Let's change those words, because what you say, what you birth out of your mouth, it just becomes reality. My grandmother used to say that, once it's birthed out of your mouth, you've spoken life into those words, you can never take them back. So think carefully about the words that you say. As women, I think that we a lot of times will sort of downplay, ourselves just to make someone else feel comfortable, right? So someone might say, "Gosh, that's a beautiful scarf," and you'll say, "Yeah, I got it on sale somewhere, or it's really old," or and the universe hears that, right? So it's like you want to say thank you, thank you for appreciating it, right? But that takes retraining, retraining of your response, retraining of the way that you're thinking. Be magnificent, right? Be the superhero in your story. So when someone says, "Gosh, you look beautiful today," say, "Thank you. I feel great," right? Instead of saying, "Oh yeah, but I had a really bad night's sleep last night," so let's choose today courageously to be the superhero of our story, right? Be the hero. So we talked a little earlier about, living courageously doesn't mean living a life without hardship. But what I do believe a courageous choice is to choose happiness and positivity no matter what's going on around you, right? If you can do that, that is courageous. If you can give someone who needs it a positive word, and so I call that leveling them up, right? Leveling their vibe up. If you can do that and have that effect, that's courageous. So with every person you meet, make it your own personal challenge to level them up. The person at the the essential worker at the grocery store, level them up. Whoever, someone you haven't talked to in a while that's having a hard time, level them up. And that's living courageously, in spite of anything that's going on with you. That is a part of that courageous, the courageous being. I sort of got on a tangent with that courageous, I like it. Getting back to your, the idea of the thoughts and words and beliefs. Your thoughts and words and beliefs equal energy. So we're talking about this transition from, the physical to the energetic, right? It's becoming invisible energy now. Even with cell phones, right? We don't have to be physically wired into the wall like we had to be, years ago. We can, the energy, the frequencies are operating all around us invisibly, right? We can't see them, but it doesn't mean that they don't exist. Mm-hmm. So with the beliefs, your current beliefs will determine if your words and thoughts will manifest at this time. So a lot of people feel like, they've tried being positive, they've tried thinking positive thoughts, but it just doesn't work for them. And right. I say, it's not that it's not working. It's just that your beliefs right now are not allowing it to manifest at this time.
Okay. So that's something I really want to dive into. We're going to take a quick break. And then when we come back, I'd love to talk more about beliefs and how we actually identify what the beliefs are that are limiting us, and then how we can go about actually changing them. Okay? So everyone, stick around. Lorrie has got a special surprise for us. When we get back, we're going to talk about that as well. And if you have any questions, you'd like to join us in the chat room at inspiredchoicesnetwork.com. You're welcome to do that. You can put your questions in there. I know we do have one question in there that we need to get to as well, Lorrie. As well, you can call in. We have our phone numbers in the U.S., 815-880-8255. In Canada, 613-800-8736, or you can call us through Skype at Inspired Choices Network. So you're listening to Inspired Choices Radio Show with my wonderful guest, Lorrie Febus, and myself, Christine McIver, here on the Inspired Choices Network, and we will be right back.
Many of us make choices in our lives based on our past experiences or what others believe. What would our lives be like if we made our choices based on what we desire for our futures? When you join Inspired Choices Radio Show with holographist coach Christine McIver, you'll be provoked to look at what is true and what you know but may not choose that requires your attention. Christine does not hold back and brings all her expertise during each and every show. Are you ready to create the life and the living you truly desire? Listen for Inspired Choices Radio Show every Wednesday at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, 7 p.m. Central, 6 p.m. Mountain, and 5 p.m. Pacific on InspiredChoicesNetwork.com.
Are you a subject matter expert? Are you here to share your expertise with an audience waiting to hear from you in only the way you can deliver? Are you ready to have your voice amplified across the airwaves? Inspired Choices Network has a global radio platform streaming to millions of people across the world. Professionally produced and supported by an accomplished team every step of the way, you can broadcast from anywhere in the world, knowing your voice matters, and we ensure it is delivered with ease and efficiency. Eager to hear your message? The world awaits. Contact us today to become an Inspired Choices Network radio host. Email become a host at inspiredchoicesnetwork.com.
This is Inspired Choices Radio Show with holographist coach Christine McIver. To participate in the program, call in the U.S. 815-880-8255, Canada 613-800-8736, or Skype us at Inspired Choices Network. You can also make the choice to ask or comment by email by sending to Christine at inspiredchoices.ca. Now, back to the program.
Welcome back, everyone. Thank you so much for joining us, whether you're listening to us on the Inspired Choices Network or on any one of the many, many podcast locations out there. Thank you so much for joining us. We have Lorrie Febus here with us tonight, and we're talking about courageous choices to awaken your destiny. So, Lorrie, before we went to break, you started to talk about beliefs, and I would really love to know more about how we can actually discover the beliefs that we have, find the ones that are stopping our desires, and how we can actually go about changing those beliefs. I know, just a little question for you.
Sure. I'm glad you asked it, because it really is the core of being able to change your life, right? Awakening your ideal destiny. So, like we mentioned a little bit earlier, beliefs are thought and word patterns that have been ingrained in your core self. So at some time in your life, you internalized either consciously or subconsciously and made them true for your world. So it could have been a defining limitation. Maybe your parents saying, boys are smarter than girls. So you felt like you weren't able, or we'll never have money, right? We're always, we're always going to struggle. It's so hard to find a good mate, right? So those are belief patterns that somehow in your life at some time you adopted. And those actually are keeping away what you might want to attract. So identifying the key, your limiting belief patterns are simply listen to what you say. Take notes of how you, enter a conversation. So if you hear that the stock market's going up, do you have a feeling like, the rich are getting richer and we're just being left behind? Or are you like, gosh, I want to figure that out, right? I want to be part of that. So whatever it is that you want to attract in your life, you need to decide to make the change. And we're calling this, call today courageous living, because it does take courage to call yourself out. And, but it is the first step on making the change, so, the first step is to be aware of your words and your thoughts, and only use what you want in your life, right? So, stop the undesirable, gossiping or, like a negative tirade, right? So anyway, one of the analogies I use in the book is, from Star Wars, when Yoda tells Luke, do or do not, but there's no try, right? So decide today, right now, that you are going to live courageously and you're going to make a change in spite of whatever's going on with you right now. Whatever's going on right now is a reflection of, previous thoughts, words, or programming. So, and I'm not talking about, the worldwide issue with the virus. I mean, personally, for yourself, right? So, so how can you make a change that will be closer to the life that you are creating? And that is, that's the big question.
In the book, you were talking about sleeping, and of recent, and those of us who are very aware of energies and are very sensitive, have developed our intuition. Many people that I'm in connection with have been experiencing a great deal of unfavorable energies and feeling like they just want to sleep, or they just want to, turn off, or just be very quiet, or feeling like there's really no movement. And one of the things that I love in all the years of doing this work is being able to get to the point most days of saying, well, isn't that interesting? Isn't that interesting what's going on? As opposed to feeling at the effect of it. But what I love how you differentiated between needing to sleep and sleeping too much, and how depleting ourselves and depleting our bodies can have an effect, a large effect on, and many ways that we deplete ourselves, but how that can all have an effect on both our words and our beliefs and eventually what we create in our lives.
Yes.
Go ahead, Lorrie.
No, yes. Sleep is so, it's when we revitalize ourselves, right? So as an herbalist, I would say sleep is when we, our body heals itself and we recharge. And as a spiritual person, I would say sleep is when we can connect to the other side, right? To the other world. So it's the time when the veil is the thinnest, right? When we're sleeping. So it doesn't surprise me in this time that's so charged with emotion for so many people that sleep is either highly disrupted or you just want to keep sleeping. And so thinking of sleep in that nature, I think it's super important. There's a lot of books on positive habits that talk about, for optimal living, to get 7 to 9 hours of sleep a night. And that would be so your body had time to recharge and that you would be in optimal wellness. Sleep is also, a way to increase your vibration. So, in the vibrational scale where, hate might be the lowest and love and enlightenment might be the highest, with, people who are depressed, a lot of times they'll sleep. And I feel like it's it's nature saying, raise your vibration, right? Raise your vibration. So, so sleeping is the first step, I would say, in raising your vibration, along with eating well and,
an easy one,
too. Along with eating well, being in nature, moving, right? All of those things can increase your vibration. And that's really what we want to focus on right now. Tangible things that we can do every day.
Yeah, I love that. We have a question in the chat room. I do want to get to that. One of our callers says, do past lives play a role in how we decide what we want today? I've had past life regression therapy and see a pattern, mainly power in one life and no power in another. And now I see the courage needed in order to change.
Yeah. I do believe that we carry our quest forward. So in the book, part of the my belief about that is that we're all adventurers here, right? We get birthed into this world and we're like, okay, let's find our dharma or what's the thing that we're supposed to accomplish. It's like a big treasure hunt. And I believe that that can happen throughout lifetime. So if you didn't complete your dharma the last life, you could be carrying it forward to this life, and then further on. So, but the challenge is discovering what blocked you in that life, right, and moving beyond it.
Mm-hmm.
Does that make sense?
It does. It does make sense. I mean, when we become aware of something, the one thing that I've always known and speak to a great deal is we always have the choice. We are always in that position to make that choice. Like you say, the words that are coming out of our mouth, the thoughts that we are having, we're more powerful than any of those. And our choice, to me, is the greatest gift that we all have.
Absolutely. And really the only moment in time that we can change or make that choice is right now, right? So Eckhart Tolle wrote that book, The Power of Now, and it so moved me because it was so true how now is your only point of action. So, only in this moment right now can you take action to change your belief system or to change and increase your vibration by, walking barefoot on the grass and being in nature. Some of the programming that we may have received is I'll do that later, right? That's something I can always do later because it's low on the priority list, as far as, you might have deadlines that need to happen or, things that need to be done urgently. But I really feel that taking care of your vibration should be your foundation of every day. So going into the day with meditation and gratitude and grounding that energy so that you can make the choices in the now that will move you forward towards your destiny, towards your dharma.
Mm-hmm. I think one of the big things about living courageously is taking accountability for the life you've created, and knowing that you have created your entire life. And if things are not where you'd like them to be, take stock of what you're doing and do that personal development work. And I think that this time in the universe on planet Earth is the perfect opportunity. And it's nearly, I joke, but I feel like the universe is saying to us, okay, are you paying attention now? You've been putting everything off. Now is the time. Now is the time for you to take stock, to really look at what you're creating and begin again. Which is, I don't know whether it was Dr. Wayne Dyer used to say that, every day dawns a new opportunity. Every day that sun comes up gives us a new opportunity to start to create something new and beautiful in our lives. And now I think we've become a much more highly educated and aware group of humans on the planet. And we need to really pay attention to this if we want to have something beautiful. The one thing that you say in your book, I mean, there's so many things I love what you say in your book, but talking about having fun is not overrated. If you want to start to change your energy and change what you're creating, fun is not overrated. I love that.
Absolutely. For a lot of us, fun was something you did on the weekends or when you could slip it in. But I think fun is what is the highest energy vibration raiser, right? So fun should be a part of every day. And the cool thing is what's fun for you might be different for what's fun for me. So it's a power of discovery, and what's fun today might be different than what's fun tomorrow, so what a better, it's just such a great way to embrace life, so what feels good today, right? So, does painting a rock feel good today? Does, sitting in the sun feel good today? What's fun today? And yes, if we can all incorporate fun in our life, I think that is a key. One of the things that we've done, just a little sidebar at Easter. Speaking of fun, was we created a treasure hunt for our kids on Easter. So typically, they would get like an Easter basket or whatever. But instead of just giving them the Easter basket, when they woke up, there was a basket at the front door, and with 4 kids. So each of them had their own color ribbon, and each ribbon, each clue would lead them to their next clue, which would then finally lead them to the prize, right, to their basket. So, and all the clues were different. So they were running all, and we live out in the country on acreage. So they're running all over, trying to figure out their clues. And so as an analogy, but they were so joyful, and they were having so much fun with it, because they knew at the end of all the clues was their prize, right? They would get their prize. So every clue was just so much fun, like one step closer. And if we could all treat life that way, right, how much fun would life be? So every day, I'm like, look for the clues, right? Look for the clue of what might be fun today. If there's a stranger that, looks like they might need some help, and it feels like they might be a clue, talk to them, right? Or, who knows what your clue will be, but that's part of the fun. If you knew for sure that at the end of all the clues that you followed in your life, you would get the prize, how fun would life be?
It's so true. And the way you write your book, it's such an easeful book to read. And it's really that you talk about cosmic amnesia. Am I saying that correctly? Did I get that right?
Yes. Yeah.
And then you talk, it's like you tell the story of us communicating with our team that's on the other side, that's, cheering us on and saying, you win, everybody wins. I just love that. It speaks to me so much about the simplicity of how we can be in this world with all the circumstances around us, how we can nearly like slide right above the whole thing without it impacting us forever. And it's such a gift, Lorrie, to have this book as a guide. I mean, I've told so many people about this book because it speaks to me, and I'm sure it speaks to many other people as well. But it's so wonderful to know that, yes, at the end we all win. We all win, and it really is. It's a game, and so it's a wonderful refresher to read your book again and again, to have those thoughts come forward and go, remember, we all win. We all win. Everyone wins, and it's up to us how we get there.
Absolutely.
So we are up to our final break of the show, and when we come back, we're going to talk about a wonderful gift that Lorrie is going to share with one of our lucky listeners tonight. We're going to take some more of your questions and your comments if you're joining us in the chat room, and we'll just keep talking about whatever's asking to be spoken to tonight. And we're talking all about having the courageous choices to awaken your destiny. You're listening to Inspired Choices with my wonderful guest, Lorrie Febus, and myself, Christine McIver, here on the Inspired Choices Network, and we will be right back. Stay tuned.
Many of us make choices in our lives based on our past experiences or what others believe. What would our lives be like if we made our choices based on what we desire for our futures? When you join Inspired Choices Radio Show with holographist coach Christine McIver, you'll be provoked to look at what is true and what you know but may not choose that requires your attention. Christine does not hold back and brings all her expertise during each and every show. Are you ready to create the life and the living you truly desire? Listen for Inspired Choices Radio Show. every Wednesday at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, 7 p.m. Central, 6 p.m. Mountain, and 5 p.m. Pacific on InspiredChoicesNetwork.com.
Are you ready to have pleasure with your business? Yes, I said pleasure with your business. The Pleasure of Business a la carte will surprise you with topics like meet yourself in the boardroom, money, services, and you. Expand your visibility. The pleasure of communication. The pleasure of Instagram, Facebook, LinkedIn. Christine McIver has so much pleasure with business and loves teaching all things business. Beginning a new business? Desiring to expand a current business? Or looking to resurrect a business that has been dormant? This program will get you fired up and bring more pleasure than you have ever imagined. Exhausted with your excuses for not creating a phenomenal business? Join now for all the pleasure with business. Pleasure of Business a la carte gives you total choice for what you desire and what your business requires. That's 24 weeks of different topics to choose from with weekly calls, audio and video recordings, and PDFs. This class will have you dive right in and use tools to create the business that has been speaking to you. Go to inspiredchoices.ca for full details or join the Facebook page Pleasure of Business a la carte. Now is the time for you and your business.
This is Inspired Choices Radio Show with holographist coach Christine McIver. To participate in the program, call in the U.S. 815-880-8255, Canada 613-800-8736, or Skype us at Inspired Choices Network. You can also make the choice to ask or comment by email by sending to Christine@inspiredchoices.ca. Now, back to the program.
Welcome back, everyone. So happy to have you here tonight with my wonderful guest, Lorrie Febus, and we're talking about courageous choices to awaken your destiny. So, Lorrie, you have a special gift for one of our lucky listeners. Do you want to tell everybody what that's all about?
Sure. The gift today would be a copy of my book. So I would send a lucky winner a copy of my book and 2 herbal face masks that I personally created. About 20 years ago, I had the vision of creating this herbal face mask, and it's a face mask similar to a lot of what we've used today. And but in the mask, I have a little pocket where you can insert herbs that I provide with the mask, and they're immune-building herbs. And the idea is that, as you're breathing in the immunity of the herbs, sort of like aromatherapy. And, it's not, it's not medically proven or whatever. I want to make sure I add that in, but it is something that came to me many, many years ago. And I actually, when I was taking my herbal certification, gosh, that was probably like 20 years ago or something. And, I actually, went to see the head herbalist at Bastyr College and to have her look at my formulations idea. And she said, it's a great idea. She said, yes, she thinks it would work. But she said, I really, really hope that you never, ever have to create these masks, right? So I really thought about her words, and, my whole thing about manifestation and creation, I thought, well, maybe I shouldn't, create it because I don't want to draw it in, right? So I kind of tabled it, and it's I was cleaning my desk the other day, and I found my whole folder in there with the Herbal Mess project. But so I kind of tabled it and didn't go much further with it. And then this happened, right? And it just brought me back. And my son was moving to Japan, and at that time Japan was on high alert, and they told him he needs to bring his own mask because there weren't any there. So I thought, well, I'm gonna make them, right? So I'm finally gonna make these masks. So I got my folder out, and I looked at my formulas and created it. And the lucky winner will get two of the masks. And I also have them for sale on my website at lorriefebus.com. And part of the proceeds of that, of course, will go to charity. So I chose Northwest Harvest which is like a local food bank here, to get part of the proceeds of the mask, because it is sort of,
Right.
again, thinking about the win-win-win situation, right? By creating the mask, it's hopefully, getting into the hands of those who will be protected with it, and helping the charity. It's like a circle of winning. And when you look at life in that way, it really is an amazing thing. Even with our real estate investing, my husband and I always look for the win-win-win, right? How can everybody win in this deal? And so I really don't believe the world is anymore where there's winners and losers. I think it's changing. I think that's part of what's changing with this new energy, is that how can we all be winners, right? And so so that's part of the goodness. But anyway, yes, I'm happy to
That's awesome.
I'm happy to give that away as a gift, and I'm sure the lucky person will win it.
That's awesome. You know what? That book alone is a phenomenal gift, and then to have your beautiful creation, it's amazing. So anyone that is interested in the opportunity of winning this gift, you can email Lorrie at lorriefebus.com. So that is LORRIE at LORRIEFEBUS.com. And if you are listening to this in the replay, or if you're listening live, just give us a few minutes after the show is done, and you can find the replay post, and we'll have all the information right there in the replay. So, Lorrie, tell us about. We actually have a question. We have a question in the chat room, and one of our listeners is asking, what have you found to be the best way to shift people's energy immediately around their relationship with money?
Money is such a charged subject, right? So I also, if you wanted to sign up on my website, I send out a weekly thought tip and inspiration. And so it's just something to raise your vibration, keep your vibration high, and that's totally free. So please, I would love to be able to build our team, our happiness team, to spread the good vibes. The money is such a charged subject. So I think that with money, whenever I'm coaching with money, I always say start where you are. And of the 5 main areas that we hold limiting beliefs, money is probably one of the main ones, because we all have heard for, our whole life, people talking about money, right? Giving their opinions about money. And we need to always remember that these are just their opinions, and you have the power to create your own opinion, your own thought. So let go of all the old beliefs. So what I would do if you wanted to shift your belief system really quickly is do a brain dump on a piece of paper. Have some time available where you can do a brain dump about everything about money, everything you feel about money, everything as if money were a person, right? Just everything you feel about money, every bad thing someone said about it, every positive thing, you've heard about money. Just brain dump everything about money. And then once you've done that and you feel like you've just listed everything out there, take that piece of paper and read through it, right? And then sort of star the ones that you feel are the most limiting belief that you want to get rid of, right? Maybe the top 5 that are just reoccurring over and over, money's bad, or people with money are greedy, or whatever, right? So whatever that limiting belief is that seems to be reoccurring, make note of that limiting belief. And then, once you realize what the limiting belief is, then you can bring it out. My teacher, my sensei in Okinawa that did the initiation into my high priestess, and she is my teacher now. And she one of the things she said is that and we've heard it before that darkness cannot exist in light, right? But once you bring that limiting belief to light, so you're consciously aware of it now you have the power to change. So, like we talked about previously, now that you know that it's there, right, you have the power to change it. So whenever you think that limiting belief, I want for you to reframe it and whatever you want your new belief to be, I'm abundant, right? So maybe your limiting belief is I'll never have enough, right? So, what you want to change that to might be I'm so abundant. Abundance just flows to me like a magnet, right? So every time you think that limiting belief, stop, reframe it, right? Reframe it into I'm so abundant now. I feel so blessed. I'm so abundant now. And then you drop it, right? You go upon your day and maybe something happened and now you feel again like, darn it, I wish I could get that, right? Stop and say your new mantra, right? I'm so abundant. Money comes freely to me. So, I'm going to get that. It might not be today because on the other side, there's no time. So this is a whole nother subject and probably a whole nother radio show. But, but time is not linear in the space of energy. So, I did a lot of real estate coaching, and a lot of times my clients were like, either they wanted to get started in real estate or they just, they had a house or, they were just starting and like they couldn't even fathom how they would get to having enough passive income from the real estate to do it, right? And I'm like, success is not linear. It's not like, because it took you 3 years to acquire the first one, it's going to take you 3 years for the next one and 3 years. I mean, once you change that belief system, everything starts flowing in your direction. Everything will change. So it won't be linear. Might feel like overnight, this idea will come to you and it will just come, I remember years ago, my husband and I, we drove to Lake Chelan, which is an area, sort of a resort area here in Eastern Washington. We drove there for the first time and we were going to go look at a house there. And, I remember thinking, gosh, this is such a beautiful community. I would love to own a house here, right? Like how would that be possible? Cause they're so expensive and blah, 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 right? But nope, I was like, I would just love owning a house here. It would be so much fun. And just to think of how much fun it would be and whatever. And then I just dropped it, right? And, years later, we own condos there. We own multiple condos there. And that was, and one day, I woke up and I remembered that, and I was like, magic. It happens like magic. Magic. You have to put the energy forward. You have to put the energy forward, but you also need to align that belief system. So, there are 5 main areas that we might hold a limiting belief, and it's self-worthiness and self-esteem. It could be relationships, it could be money and career, it could be your physical body, or it could be a spiritual limiting belief. So whatever area you feel like you want to challenge, do it. Do the brain dump and locate those fears and go forward.
Lorrie, this has been such a gift. I am so appreciative of you being here and sharing all of your wisdom, to creating this book, and sharing it all with our listeners. Thank you so much for being here. Thank you to all of our listeners, everyone in the chat room. It has been a pleasure to have you here tonight. And remember, no matter what you do, remember that you can always make another choice. Bye for now, my friends.
Thank you for choosing to listen to Inspired Choices Radio Show. Christine McIver will return next Wednesday at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, 7 p.m. Central, 6 p.m. Mountain, and 5 p.m. Pacific on InspiredChoicesNetwork.com. We hope you'll join us. Until then, be willing to choose what you really desire. This is your life, making the choices that bring you all that you